Hasan Piker was banned on Twitch for 7 days for stating a slur, which is what Twitch calls it. So I'm going to show my disclaimer here. Hasan Piker used the word, quote, Zionist pigs in his live stream. And apparently that sent Twitch off the edge, and he was banned for 7 days using that term. Now, regardless of what you feel about the guy, you could be on the left or you can be on the right. It's interesting, though, that this term is banned, and this is what got him banned for 7 days, but not a lot of other terms. So Hasan Piker went on social media and actually brought that up. Again, I'm just showing what's been written. I'm not alleging my thoughts on anything for YouTube guidelines. You can say Nazi pig on Twitch. You can say Democrat pig. You can say Republican pig. You can say Islamist pig, but you cannot say Zionist pig. The ADL, which is an arm of Israel's suppression in the West that works with law enforcement and does espionage, has made it a bannable offense. That got 1.4 million views, 102,000 likes. That's like, for that many views, it's a really massive, like, good ratio, I guess. So it just goes to show how many people actually agree with it. I mean, I hearted it. I agree with it. I think that regardless of how you feel, you can recognize that it's odd that this word gets banned, but not a lot of other words. And what's so offensive? Is that not a political ideology? From what I understood, Zionism is a political ideology. Am I wrong now? Well, it seems like that I'm wrong now. I mean, right now I'm looking at the viewership on this live stream. Maybe it's going to change. It only says I have 9 viewers, so something's up there too. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you what Twitch's guidelines are. Here it is, and this is kind of zoomed in a little bit weird. The guidelines state that we prohibit the use of terms that may not be harmful or abusive, and these guidelines came out in 2024. So after October of 2023, because so many people were using the word Zionists, the ADL went into overdrive and started working with these social media platforms to ban the term Zionist as hate speech, which is exactly what we saw Andrew Presser, the new CEO of TikTok, publicly state. He just said it publicly. We now we ban the term Zionist if it's being used as hate speech. We prohibit the use of terms that may be harmful or offensive or abusive in isolation, but can be used as a slur to denigrate others in certain contexts. Similar to other terms that may be used as a proxy for a protected group, we treat, quote, Zionists as a proxy for Jews or Israelis if the word is used in a context to promote harm or violence, or when used to make dehumanizing comparisons or perpetuate anti-Semitic stereotypes. Comments regarding Zionism that are about a political movement, including criticism, do not violate our hateful conduct policy. Comments that call for violence against Zionism as a political movement, or comments that would otherwise violate our policies, are not allowed. So that's interesting. You can't apparently now, they say that if you're criticizing Zionism as a political ideology, that's fine. Well, who gets to make that decision? Is it the ADL that gets to decide when it's being used as when you're being critical of the political ideology or not? Just so you know, the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt, the CEO of it, their number one goal right now, globally, is to push the IRA definition of anti-Semitism. It's the working definition of anti-Semitism. The U.S. government, our government, if you're in the United States, has been pushing bills recognizing the IRA definition of anti-Semitism, which states that certain criticisms of Israel are considered anti-Semitic. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, well, what certain criticisms of Israel? If you compare Israeli policy to that of 1940s Germany, that's considered anti-Semitic under the IRA definition. If you go ahead and state that Zionism is a racist ideology, that by definition, that is exactly one of the bullet points in the IRA definition, that is considered anti-Semitic. Now, why? Well, you might be wondering why. Why is this even a thing? Zionism was considered a racist settler ideology by the United Nations back in 1972. It passed in the General Assembly, and Israel was infuriated. Like, they were lit on fire. They were so aggravated by this, and it sucked that way. For 20 years, Zionism was considered a racist settler ideology that views Jewish people above everybody else. That's what the United Nations voted on. And then George Bush Sr., he goes out and he begs and he basically really pushes the General Assembly to revoke that definition, which is how it ended up being removed. And he did that because he wanted to form a peace agreement in the 1991 Spain International Convention. That's a whole separate video I actually made on an Israeli assassination attempt on Bush related to this. Regardless, after that was removed in 1991, the Israelis and the ADL were like, okay, we never want something like that to be pushed in the General Assembly ever again. So the best thing to do is to actually to create a working definition of anti-Semitism related to Zionism, then push that definition and shove it in government's faces and force them to take that definition in. So they've went ahead and done that in the United States. They've went ahead and done it in Argentina. Thank God for the First Amendment, or the First Amendment in the United States. In Argentina, they don't have it the same way we do, and that's being stripped away from us. In Argentina, it's you can be imprisoned. You can get criminally charged for violating the IRA definition of anti-Semitism, a working definition, okay? Australia, they're pushing crazy hate speech laws in place that are basically stripping away your freedom of speech. Somebody let me know if I would assume that Australia also implements the IRA definition of anti-Semitism. And they're going about, I believe, 40 some countries now around that number recognize the IRA definition of anti-Semitism. That is a threat to the whole globe. That is a threat to everybody's free speech. I can't state that Zionism is a racist ideology. They want to pass that sort of legislation in the United States if it wasn't for the First Amendment, which the ADL would love to just get rid of at this point. The IRA definition of anti-Semitism would be a global definition. When we have U.S. politicians like Randy Fine, who recently came out publicly a month ago and said he's introducing legislation to analyze and to monitor the EU, any European country, for cases of anti-Semitism, so then the United States and the DOJ can take sanctions and take state action against those countries. He means implementing the IRA definition of anti-Semitism as a viewpoint in which to monitor these countries. So, if Ireland goes about considering sanctions on Israel and the occupied West Bank, well, that violates the IRA definition of anti-Semitism. Bam, Department of Justice, sanction Ireland. If Spain decides to do something that the Israelis get pissed off, bam, the Department of Justice, sanction them. And if not for sanctions, you're going to have a whole load of U.S. congressmen threatening all of these countries on X, telling them, hey, you can't do that. You have to not do that for Israel. And Trump is, of course, willingly allowing this to happen because of the fact that Trump is bought out through and through by Israel. Not just actually bought out, but Trump is compromised. I mean, we saw that recent Epstein file document, the FBI document, and this is just coming from one person's allegations. Put that document aside. It's obvious for anybody that's looking at what's going on. It's not just Miriam Adelson's $250 million. There's something much more sinister happening behind the scenes, something much more corrupt happening behind the scenes that's making this guy a puppet for the state of Israel. Okay? That's what's happening. That's what's going on in this country. There is a full-on takeover of our free speech, the push to have these social media platforms monitored just for the ADL. You know, it's really the ADL really pushing behind this. But actually, no, I should correct myself. It's not just the ADL, because even X recently mentioned, I believe it was X, recently mentioned that there are 20 pro-Israel organizations that are related to free speech and analyzing hate speech, quote unquote, that are working with different social media companies to monitor this sort of stuff. This is a whole damn network just going after these social media companies, making sure that they are being monitored specifically for Israel, specifically for Zionism. So again, before I end this video, this would be a great time now to just explain that I'm just sharing information and really not intended to promote hate on any group of people. I have to do this, and that's what keeps my videos up. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it. Also, guys, I recently started my memberships. If you join, it's just like $5 a month, and it helps me support my channel, do this as a full-time job, and you get to see some member-only videos in there as well when you join as a member. So that's it for this video, guys. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.